last part I want to close with here is you mentioned in the blog 3 important metrics. Obviously, these are very specific to marketing, but we can apply them to social media, and LinkedIn is traffic generated, leads
Mhm.
generated, and sales generated.
Yeah.
So why are those so important right now?
Well, I mean, there's always this, I forget how you described it in high school, but it was like, this thing was like, if, A equals B and B equals C, then A has correlation to C. Well, if I know how many visitors come to my website and I know how many website visitors turn into an actual opportunity, I could say, hey, you know what? This is how many visitors I need to get an opportunity. So if you know that sort of math, you really have to concentrate on A, which basically means how do they become a visitor? And so one of the challenges that we try to do is we try to connect automation platforms with LinkedIn. So without automation platforms, I'm going to talk about HubSpot. We're gold partners with HubSpot. I talk about HubSpot all the time. If I'm in Google Analytics, I'm going to be able to say 50 leads came from LinkedIn to my website.
Gotcha.
And maybe some of them engaged. But with something like HubSpot, I'm going to be able to see Bob came from LinkedIn, and then he came to my website. He went to these 3 pages on my website, and then he converted. And so that's where it gets really interesting is that when I start to think about metrics, if you sell products in volume, you might not care about those intricate details. But if you work with some of the SaaS companies we work with, or some of the other clients like that, they want to know about every lead, and every lead has a name, and every name, is a relationship.
Gotcha.
And so I want to make sure that I'm connecting social media platforms with actual automation platforms that tell me this is how Bob engages.
Okay. That's really important too, because within that HubSpot application, we can actually define the origin of that contact.
Correct.
And then provide some ROI on how we're using it. And then obviously from an analytical and metric perspective, the cool part about LinkedIn is that it is so nimble. You can change your profile. You can't necessarily do A/B testing, but you can certainly change and update pictures. You mentioned also in the blog, hashtags and keywords, in your job title, in your headlines, and your skills. So maybe just mess around with that a little bit to figure out what's most effective, and then tie that back into your marketing automation platform to see, hey, what's working for you.
I mean, it's literally, it's like kind of analytics at the speed of light. I mean, I think you sold print for what, 25 years?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how expensive would it be to just change directions mid-course and say, hey, well, this worked here. We think we know some correlation. You know what I mean? Like,
it's quickly.
You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Cool. Well, we're almost out of time.
Okay.
Is there one closing thought that you'd like to give our audience today?
Yeah. I'm going to say this a lot. Adopt. If you haven't used LinkedIn, right? Like if you're finding that you want to baby step into this, I would recommend tackling it on your own. But it has become complex enough where I would probably lean on using a thought leader or an expert in the space that's going to help you save time, cut corners. It's worth the money. I'm telling you, it's very easy to spend a lot of time in LinkedIn and get no results and then throw your hands up and say, this mall's worthless. No, it's actually got all the people inside. You just don't know the system to find them.
Okay. So you're saying if you don't think you're using it properly, get some help.
Get some help.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure learning from you again today. And thank you all for joining the Fairtech podcast series.
Remember to subscribe. We want to get in front of you as often as possible. And if you subscribe, you're going to get notified every time we create a new post.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.